everybody, and it's Monday night and time for SportsView. Good evening, Derwin, and welcome.
Hey Pat, how are you?
Our Joe is recovering from a little operation, and we wish him well, Joe. We hope you get back to your feet before the program is out. No, I'm joking. We'll see you next week again. And John is coming in somewhere. He's up in space somewhere. He'll be coming in later on. But what we had during the week, we'll be looking at the World Club Championship for all of you who were interested, all five of you who were watching it. It began on Sunday, which was yesterday, and the World Club UEFA football tournament, and over in the United States. I don't know what the viewing figures are like. I don't know, some of the matches didn't have any goals in them, and Al Amsa was nil, and Inter Miami nil.
Yeah, I mean that Bayern Munich game and
Palmeiras nil, Porto nil, PSG 4, Atletico Madrid nil. That was a decent match. I don't mean the score, but it was a decent soccer match. Bayern Munich 10, and Ankara City. Yeah. Waterfall nil 2, Seattle Sounders 1, and Benfica are playing tonight, and Chelsea are playing LA tonight. And I think, what's his name? Delap, I think, is tipped to make his debut for Chelsea tonight in that
be
tournament.
interested to see how these guys, the teams from the UK and the European teams, to be honest,
Yeah,
how they get on when they get back, because the season will be virtually starting by the time they get back.
well, they should be fit.
Yeah, but some of them won't have had a break, will they?
Man United will be waiting in the long grass for them.
No, don't ask. Don't talk about United. I dread to think what they're going to be doing.
Yeah. They'll be getting more hair gel and underarm advertisements. Anyway, that's it. And Man City are making their debut on Wednesday night in the tournament. We'll see. As you said, Derwin, it'll be interesting to see how the European teams get on, and teams from England how they progress in the tournament. But anyway, I don't know what this figures. Some of the games are on at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock and 2 a.m. in the morning because obviously it's on over in the United States. So,
I mean, it feels like it's a practice run for the World Cup, doesn't it?
yeah, it feels like that, the administration of it. I don't know, yeah.
And the TV stuff, how does it work if they're, I mean, imagine England playing at 2 o'clock in the morning over it, when we're watching it at 2 in the morning.
Well, it might be good for the English team. I don't think many will be staying up to watch them the way they're playing.
Yeah, but when you sit there and you think the amount of business that's built, around watching football now in these tournaments, like the pubs and the clubs and everything else.
Yeah, that's true. It's an income.
What are they going to be? There's Box Park in Wembley, which is right by the stadium. It's the five-a-side pitches, and they call them Box Park. There's loads throughout England, throughout the UK.
Yeah.
And they basically take over like 3 five-a-side pitches with tables and bars, and you watch it on a cinema screen.
Yeah, and
imagine that at 2 in the morning.
Well, you'll be fairly well drunk at 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
if you went into the pub at 10 o'clock, you'd have 4 hours of drinking. Any man that couldn't drink 20 pints at 4 hours is not a man at all.
But I mean, can you imagine the nonsense that's going to go on?
Oh, God.
If England lose, I mean, there's a really good documentary on Netflix about the Euros final at Wembley and how they played that game on a Sunday at 8 o'clock in the evening, and how bad Wembley was for drugs, drinking, incidents. And if you remember, they tried to break into the ground.
Yeah.
Because 100,000 in Wembley, but FIFA held it back to 80,000. the fans outside who had no tickets knew there was 23,000 spare seats. But they'd started drinking in Wembley Way at 9 o'clock that morning.
Oh, well, by 8 o'clock that night, they had 11 hours of drinking. And even
Yeah.
if they only had 1 pint an hour, that was 11 pints.
So can you imagine the nonsense? And again, did they learn from anything about England fans? Do not give them that. That should have been a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it should be on at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but just again, you sit there with FIFA and the World Cup authorities and the Euros or whatever they are, and you sit there and think, what are they thinking?
You see, I can understand them doing that because in the continent, when we were in France last year, in the continent, the whole scene is totally different.
Yeah,
Totally different. I mean, we were down at different times of the day. People socialize all day long, all evening long, different groups of people, and there's no rushing in or rushing out to the pub or anything like that. It's all totally different. Because they're all open late in any big city in France. They're open through the night as well,
yeah,
and most countries you go to. So you have a different attitude, and you're more relaxed because when you go out, you go in there. There's somewhere to go, and you're not looking at your watch or your clock or anything. You're just relaxing, and I think that's where UEFA falls down. There should
I
be a lot
just don't.
more.
I just don't think they think properly. They don't plan it. I get it. I get why they do it. It's TV rights and all.
Although when you look at the trouble that some PSG fans caused in Paris during the thing, and so you
Well,
can
every
for that.
got it, haven't they? They've got an element of it, but England are like notorious, aren't they?
The Yabos. So even in the 70s when we were going to when I used to go up to Loftus Road on a Saturday to a match. I mean, the first time I got a culture shock being from Ireland, all the amount of police and dogs and horses. I never saw that in a match in my life, ever.
Yeah.
I said to the lads, what's going on here? Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I couldn't get over it.
Well,
Jeez.
imagine growing up in Wembley, mate.
Yeah, I know.
We saw it on a regular basis every day. I mean,
The trooping of the colour at
honestly,
Loftus Road.
exactly. I mean, just amazing memories of growing up in Wembley.
Yeah. Jeepers. I was astonished, but then you get used to it.
Yeah, we didn't think anything of it. It was normal. I mean,
And it's not that I was a prude or anything, but then we went to a match in the Den.
yeah, at Millwall.
And the language, I never heard it in my whole life. And I didn't hear it since, some of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the 70s and 80s.
Oh, God.
About whole different youth as well, wouldn't you?
Oh, my God. You'd be afraid I didn't even open my mouth, silence for the whole match, because you could be the one that'd be picked on, but anyway. And I'm not saying that all Millwall fans are the same. I'm saying some, small element, just in case there's a Millwall fan left watching this show. We love you, Millwall. We love you, Millwall. And the best of luck for the season. We had the Irish team, I would say Leinster, which is the Irish team as well. Leinster made the final of the United Rugby Championship. And they won the final, and it was a horrible game of rugby. Just awful stuff. They won it 32-7. And I hate knock your own, but I think the more I watch rugby, the more I'm getting turned off. Except French rugby, to me.
Well, the Bath Leicester game on
the Bath Leicester game, yeah.
Brilliant.
23-21. I didn't see that.
Oh, it was a great game of rugby.
Yeah. I read about it, though. I did read about it, That was the playoff final, was it?
Yeah, it was. No, that was the league final. Yeah, whatever it was, whatever they
Yeah.
play in. But I mean, that was a really good game of rugby.
And I heard today that Farrell has gone back to Leicester, is he?
Yeah, I think
After,
so. Yeah,
yeah, after spending 12 months at Racing 92.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's earned his money. He's now going for his pension fund.
Well, he's paid the mortgage off for France and took it back from France, you know. But I'd say, you know, you have to play at your top in French. The French rugby, to me, the top 14 is the premier rugby competition in the world, in my opinion. You know.
Well, Dan Bigger reckons it was the best time of his life when he played in. Uh, he was down the south of France, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, Dan Bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, who was he with? Bordeaux or someone?
Bordeaux or Toulouse or something.
Or Montpellier or someone down there. Anyway.
It might be Montpellier. Yeah,
Yeah. What did he say?
said it was the best time of his career.
Yeah. Oh, rugby is at a different level in France. You know, there's no doubt about it. Anyway, Leinster won the URC and Bath beat Leicester in a cracking match 23-21. And in Formula One, you had George Russell, another good driver. George Russell won the Canadian Grand Prix from Verstappen and Antonelli. The Mercedes were won first and third, so they had a bit of a resurgence in that Grand Prix. And there was I don't know, there was a presentation made to Lewis Hamilton.
The Senna family wanted to give you something to congratulate you on equaling Ayrton's record. It's not a replica. It's race worn from your hero to you.
A helmet, an actual helmet of Ayrton Senna's.
Yeah, he looked really.
Huh?
He looked taken back by that, didn't
He was absolutely shocked, you know. That's the picture. I was reading about it after. You can read about it online, but I thought it was a beautiful gesture, you know, because I mean, Senna was the George Best of motor racing, you know, or
Yeah.
the Pele of motor racing. You know, he was such a character, you know, and
No, Senna used to tell the mechanics what he felt was wrong with the car, and the mechanics would actually check it, and he was always correct.
you know such a sad end to a brilliant career, you know, brilliant career. That's another film that's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's a really good film.
Oh God, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. You know, it's fabulous. Worth to watch, even if you have no interest in Formula One.
Yeah,
Just on a human level, just to watch that. You know, of course, you had some fantastic characters. Your Prost around it, Alain Prost from France. He was around at the time. You had Nicky Lauda. You had was that in the 70s and 80s, and you
yeah,
had
early
you had
80s.
James Hunt.
I think
And
Hunt just gone when Senna arrived.
was it gone? Yeah, and Nicky Lauda, of course, Nicky
Yeah,
Lauda, and you had who was the man around from England that time? What's his name? With the
uh,
mustache,
Graham
mustache.
Hill.
Watson.
Yeah, John Watson. Yeah,
Yeah, with the mustache. Yeah,
yeah. Derek Warwick.
yeah. Dennis Warwick. Yeah, they had a lot of fun.
Coulthard.
Oh, cool Todd. I could never warm to him.
And Johnny Herbert.
Johnny Herbert. Yeah, I remember Johnny Herbert. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few, wasn't there, around that era?
Yeah. God. Anyway, so it's a film worth watching. Senna. It's simply called Senna,
Yeah,
and it's an hour and a half or something. But it's fabulous, you know. And you recognise nearly all of the characters in the film, you know. And then of course, we had the US Open Golf Championship was held in Oakmont. What's that? How would you describe that course that they played?
Oakmont is one of America's top golf courses.
It is.
It really is. It'd be in the top 5, top 6 in America. The only thing is, the USGA just make a mockery out of golf. They trick it up like there's no tomorrow. And that rough was beyond a joke. I mean, the par is 72 round there, and I think they play it at 70. But there's one par 4 that they play as a par 3.
Yeah, you can drive the hole, as they say. You can drive to the flag.
Yeah, but I mean, that I watched some of the practice round stuff, and you were watching guys trying to chip it by the side of the green, and they were basically couldn't move the ball. And you're talking about the best players. You're not talking about good players. You're talking about some of the best in the world, and they can't move the ball.
I saw your man Scotty Scheffler being utterly frustrated. First time I saw him, totally frustrated. Top golfers who didn't think the golf course was a test. It was brutal.
I mean, the lad who's won it, and he's done well. He's shot the lowest score and all the rest of it. So you can't take that away from him. But you do sit there and kind of go, as a spectacle, is it what you want to see? One person under par?
I mean, you had Adam Scott, who had a terrific tournament. And of course, as we know, Adam Scott was beaten. Was it in the playoff for the Masters?
Yeah, he's lost in a playoff for the Open as well, hasn't
he? He did, yeah. I mean, he's a serious golfer still, Not that he wasn't. He was just. He's so consistent. When you look back, he's so consistent. His name is always up around 10, 15, in most tournaments. He's just a brilliant golfer. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. He should get,
I mean, it's nice to see it being tough, but at the same time, when it starts humiliating players,
that's when I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think a lot of club golfers would like watching it, but at the same time, you're taking so much skill level out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they should be able to handle it. Yeah, but when you're trying to, don't forget they're chipping it out of like 7 or 8 inch thick rough.
Yes.
Where the ball goes to the bottom of it, because it's not like our rough. It's not like our grass.
No, it goes down.
Goes down to the roots in it, and then they're pitching it onto a green that's like glass. And to me, that now becomes a little bit of an element of luck that gets involved now, more luck than judgment.
And JJ Spawn, for people who might have missed it, won the Open at the age of 34. JJ Spawn, he was going to give up the game 2 years ago. He was getting so frustrated with his game. He was on the verge of giving it up. But then, since then, he's done extremely well the last 2 years. When you see his career, last 2 years. And he was, as we know, he was beaten in the playoff for the Players' Championship. McIlroy beat him in the playoff for that.
Yeah.
And anyway, he won $4.3 million for his 4 days in the rain. And Robert McIntyre from Scotland finished at +1. He had a terrific tournament, runner-up, and he won $2.3 million for his weekend. So that was good for him. But Spawn had 66, 72, 69, and 72. And young McIntyre had a 70, 74, a 69, and 68, which was terrific scoring for the weekend.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic scoring, and he had to sit. He was finished before Swan. He had to sit in the scoring room watching the end of it. Watching Swan making that terrific putt, and hoping he's taken or maybe one and hoping. But anyway, I think we were saying before we came on here that McIntyre is a very resilient golfer, and I think that he'd be a good each-way bet for the Open coming up soon, the next major.
Yeah, it would. Portrush would be good.
Yeah.
It's a good golf course, Portrush.
Is Portrush a links golf course?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
it's good
well,
too.
yeah, that'd be good now. That'd be good. I think we couldn't get tickets for the Open. No, my son's supposed to get tickets to the Open. Anyway, so that was the golf. We had the ladies were playing the European on the European tour. The ladies were playing in the Helen Court Open, and Darcy Harry. Now there's the name for you. She won it. Darcy Harry at minus 13. She won 45,000 euros on the ladies tour, and the two Irish golfers, young Lauren Walsh, finished at minus 7, and young Sarah Byrne finished at minus 4. They're doing well on the European tour, the ladies. And the ladies in the LPGA tour were playing in the Meyer Classic. Uh, Carlotta Ciganda from Spain. I don't remember her in the what you play for Europe in the Saline Cup, you know.
In Stockholm, yeah.
And when the king came over to her on
Yeah,
one
that's right.
door, you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, she won. She won that at minus 16, 69, 67, 69, and 67. She got $500,000 for her week. Lexi Thompson, is it? Lexi
Yeah.
Thompson, who I love watching for her golf, mind you, in case people get the wrong impression, you know. Particularly for her chipping skills in the bunker. Anyway, she finished at minus 13. She's just such a character on the golf course. People are just attracted to her on the golf course. She gets probably the biggest crowd on the tournament, you know, because she's such an outwardly affable person, you know, her
Yeah.
personality, I should say, and you know, she's a warm person. And people like to support her. The same with I don't she's playing. I didn't see Charlie Hull playing in that. I don't think she was playing that now, you know, but she's another golfer like that, you know, that takes chances and everything. But now we're going back to, let me see. There was a discussion, I'd be on these pages, these sports pages, and there were people discussing on one of them boxing, and so it piqued my interest because I'm a big boxing fan all my life, and they were talking about Muhammad Ali. Was he the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time? That's a very subjective thing, trying to come to terms with that, you know, because there was a lot of very good heavyweights, and they were making the point that he lost 4 years of his career, and I felt that's all wrong. 4 years of his career were stolen by the United States government from him, you know, because of that. I put that post up on the page, and a lot of people came on and said, yes, that's what should be said. I said, you know, the best 2 years of his life were 1940. Yeah, in his mid-20s, at the peak of
Yeah.
his powers, he had stopped boxing. He was put into jail for being a conscientious objector.
Yeah.
And this is what he was saying about it.
Ali defeated Foley by a knockout in the 7th round. Immediately thereafter, he walked into the teeth of a monumental decision. He was drafted, and then he refused induction on the grounds of his religious convictions on war.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. Well, I'm going to shoot them for what? How can I go shoot them? Them little poor little black people and little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
While fighting imprisonment for his stand, Ali was also stripped of his title, denied a license to fight in the United States, and denied a visa to go overseas to fight. He was in a much tighter financial bind than most were aware of.
I don't want to see the world heavyweight champion driving the Volkswagen, guys in the Cadillacs and making fun of you. So I'm working today, I'm hauling, right? And so one day I had to speak at Canisius. Heard of Canisius? Canisius, Fairleigh Dickinson, C.W. Post. 3 colleges at $1,500 a college. Pretty good money. So I broke my wife's piggy bank. She had about $35 in it. $135. I broke the piggy bank to get gas money to get me to the college. And I got enough gas and food money to get the $4,500, the $1,500 lecture. That $45 would hold me, pay gas bills, light bills, till I get to the next college. This went on until the whole mess was over.
Inevitably, students would challenge Ali on his stand and his convictions. Remarkably, Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all of you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
Well, there you go, no? I mean, people don't realize the full extent of what the United States did to Ali, did to Cassius Clay. They stripped him of his title, which was bad enough. They put him in prison. They took his boxing license off of him. They denied him a license to make a living with his fist. Then, furthermore, they denied him a visa to travel out of the country so he could make some few bob, when he was denied a license. So people don't realize the extent of what they did to him, And anyway, there's not too many men like him in sport today, people like him, people of principle, I should say,
Amazing time when you think about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 1960s, 67, 68, and of course they shot students for protesting against that appalling war, a war that they lost. America lost the war in Vietnam, and not alone that, the killings, there have been so many films made about it as well, But,
the thing is, though, Pat, as human beings, we don't learn, do we?
No, we keep repeating.
Look what's going on now with Tehran and now Gaza and all the rest of it. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but you sit there and you kind of go, you've got all these Iranians now saying, like, stop it, it's not us, it's our government. Why don't they overrule the government? Why don't they overrun it? The same with Gaza. If Gaza is all these innocent people are so wanting peace, why don't they get rid of Hamas?
That is a question that is rarely asked and rarely discussed.
I sit there and I listen to it, and you kind of go, hang on a second, you started it. Don't throw stones if you don't want any stones coming back at your tree now.
But
they're all so innocent. It's like, that you've got the Ukrainians now saying things like about Zelensky, and you're like, well, why don't you? If there's hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, why don't you overturn the government and stop it? And yeah, we know it's not right. I get it, all of that.
Yeah.
It's like, all these Gazans are so innocent, and all they want is peace. Well, get rid of Hamas.
That's true. And
you must know where they are to get rid of.
Yeah.
I mean, they in Asia, like the Philippines and all these other bizarre places, they have military coups, don't they?
They do, yeah. And you have the broadcasting with the general and all these medals.
Yeah.
I'm in charge now, lads. Okay, everything is going to be fine.
But you do sit there and kind of, look at the mess.
But you look, Darwin, we had a World War, 14 to 18, and then less than 20 years later, we had another one.
Yeah.
Another World War.
That was for freedom of speech. And sort of, like...
Most of the wars...
I just
in Ireland, we were saying in Ireland, all our wars were merry and all our songs were sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. And in England, more especially, they sent out their young children, 17, 18, 19, to be slaughtered at the front in the First World War. The
Yeah.
carnage,
Cannon fodder.
oh, it was just, oh my God, you know.
Amazing, amazing that when you think about how politics does link into sport.
Yeah,
You know, you've just played that clip about Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali.
yeah,
You know, that was politics in an era in America which they don't like talking about Vietnam. They don't like talking about all of that was going on in the late 60s, apartheid, whatever. You know, South Africa got slaughtered for it. America didn't, and it was the same principle. I mean, how can you have what do they call it? The free world, and that America.
we're the leader of the free world.
How can you have a country where because you're a color, you can't even go and sit in a restaurant,
Yeah,
and you've got different drinking fountains for coloureds and whites only. But South
yes,
Africa had that, and they got slaughtered for it. And the
true.
politicians stopped all. Like you think of the British Lions, think of the Lions that never went on that tour to South Africa.
Yeah,
You know, John Taylor, the London Welsh and Welsh Centre,
yeah,
was a teacher teaching in inner London and was teaching coloured kids and white kids in a comprehensive school. And he took it upon himself that I can't be a hypocrite and go to a country that condones that. Yet, you know, when they came out, when the South Africans came over, I think before that tour, and there was all the demonstrations. That Peter Hine, do you remember
yeah.
him?
I remember him.
Right? I mean, you sit there and you kind of go, hang on a second. That's going on at the same time as what's going on in America, but you don't ever go at America.
Yeah,
You didn't stop. You didn't stop Americans coming over to play in the Ryder Cup, or
no, nothing like that. There was no sporting
no, there's no boycotts.
apartheid against them.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
know, what I mean, yeah,
And you sit there and kind of go, you know, should politics get wrapped up in sport? Well, the answer to that is no. But there's
politics. It's all tied up with big business. You know, it's all tied up with big business, and even the golfers are learning to their cost that if they give their opinions, sponsors would go away from them. You know,
yeah,
or to stop them. It's all bound up with politics and sponsorship. Everything is bound up with that. There isn't any real freedom. You know, even on this program, even on the little podcast that we do, which it hasn't got a very big reach. You know, you get the odd, you get from time to time, you will get a message on YouTube. You know, about not about this program, but another part that we do. You know, that you're on a warning for expressing an opinion. Who does YouTube or who does Google think they are? Who do they
yeah.
think they are? You know? I mean, I think the social media is rife with oppression. That's the way I'd say it.
There's a phrase, isn't there? As in who watches the rule makers or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Who
It's something along.
the fact checkers.
Yeah. I mean, you sit there and you do. I sit there and I kind of look at things like what you just showed there about Cassius Clay. Then you look at that like I've just said about the rugby. Yet all of that was going on in America at the same time as it was in South Africa.
Yes, it was.
Yes, but South Africa got murdered for it.
They did because they were an easy target. They picked the target
Yeah,
and they ganged up on them
yeah,
because they had they had the leverage to do so. They
yeah.
didn't. They didn't have the moral response. But you look at the United Nations. I know we're off topic, but you look at the United Nations. It's controlled by Russia, America, France, United Kingdom, and Germany.
Well, there's something that's just come out over here over the last week or so, something to do with the defence spending. where NATO's asking more from Britain, yet they've cut Germany's and Italy's and Spain and France. They're paying less now, and you're like, well, hang on a sec. There's a great big sea between us and Europe.
There is.
If Russia wants to move across and go through Poland, Germany, Austria,
if they want to do a tour of Europe, is it?
Help yourself, because we'll be the last ones that they come to.
Yeah.
And you sit there and kind of go, how do we get mugged off every time with Europe?
Yeah, I don't believe Russia have an expansion plan like that myself. You know.
But you think about all the Russian sports people. You know, you've got loads of them who are playing under the Olympic banner because they're not allowed to play for their country.
You have in tennis now. You have people, Russian competitors. There's no flag and nothing behind them. There are non-people, and yet you have Americans who were never sanctioned for the brutality in Iraq, for instance, and in Afghanistan. They were never sanctioned. You know. Well, we know why they were white people. That's why.
But you just sit there and it's like doesn't make sense. None of it makes any sense.
No. Now the British and Irish.
Go on.
The British and Irish Lions are going on tour soon. There's 16 Irish people in the party out of 40. That's nearly half. And I don't know where they're deserted. I don't know how they're picked myself anymore, you know. But I mean, they were picked by an Englishman. People forget Andy Farrell. I know he's the coach of Ireland, but he's an Englishman. He picked them, I presume. Well, I don't know how they're picked, Durbin. Are they picked by one man or by a committee?
I think it is just Farrell and his coaches, isn't it? They pick it, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of these coaches are English and Welsh, so, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
There's one Welsh guy in there, Jack Morgan.
There's two Welsh, is there?
Is that two?
Yeah, we went over one night here.
Jack Morgan's one of them.
There's a couple of Scotsmen.
But I mean, if you looked at like the Six Nations this year, I mean, Ireland probably did have some better players and stuff. Certainly better than most of the Welsh teams.
Ireland finished third, was it?
I think so, yeah.
England and France were above them.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's the Lions, isn't it? I mean, I suppose out of all of the tours that they do, Australia's the weakest one, isn't it?
Well, they say, but Australia are building. They said they're building, and they think they're a settled team. I don't know.
I mean, they always say the South African tour is the toughest.
Well, in my opinion, in my head, rugby-wise, and I'm not an expert, I'd rate South Africa as number one team today in rugby.
Yeah, you probably would say that.
And I think they've proved it. They've proved it, sure, you know. And
I think it's time that the Six Nations actually revamped itself and had a relegation spot.
There are enough teams in the second tier to have that up and down, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Georgia,
Portugal,
Canada. You could bring Canada into it, couldn't you?
Kazakhstan, Georgia, Russia are handy.
So I mean, I think one up and one down would be a good thing for the Six Nations.
It would, yeah. It focus there, you know, on the thing. But I just wonder myself. Are the World Cup now? Are players minding themselves? Say the last year before the World Cup, you know, when it comes around. Are they not that concentrated on Six Nations? I mean, Six Nations generates an income for the unions, the 6 unions, you know, the television money and all that.
So I got an email today about tickets for the autumn internationals for Wales, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, you know what? They've got 4 autumn internationals, Wales.
Yeah.
So first up is South Africa. Why?
South Africa will murder them.
Murder them. Then they've got Japan.
Yeah, that could be even enough.
And then they've got I think it's Georgia. It's Georgia, I think.
Yeah.
Then they got New Zealand to finish with.
Well, there'll be 2 massacres and 2 even.
Yeah, there'll be like you do sit there and kind of go, why didn't you have Japan first as a warm-up game? And then, but you're sitting there, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like they're trying to build some confidence in a young team.
Yeah, but those 4 games, will they be £1,000 for the 4 of them?
What for
Good. For the 4, yeah.
No, the cheapest ticket is $13.50.
In Cardiff Arms Park.
Yeah, which $13.50 to go and watch New Zealand. I don't think that's bad. Or South Africa.
Oh, I was thinking about. I thought it'd be around 50 quid. You know.
No, I mean $13.50. You're in the gods. But I mean at Cardiff Arms Park is still a good view.
Yeah, you're at the match.
Yeah,
you're in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. You know?
Yeah, but I think they know that they've last year at Six Nations they couldn't fill it, which is the first time in living memory that you could have gone and got a ticket on the day.
Yeah.
And
well, all the punters in Ireland are priced out of rugby internationals in Ireland. We know that, but utterly priced out of them. Yeah, it's something you'd like to go, but I would not pay money like that to see them. I would not pay €200 to see a rugby match.
No,
I wouldn't.
Not
I don't care who's playing. I wouldn't simply not go to see it. You know. I go to see Frank Sinatra or someone like that, or or Ella Fitzgerald or something. I wouldn't go to see a rugby match. You know. But, and the top 14, getting back to France, the ticket prices are very good there. They're a lot of them are community based, the pictures and the people, and but I think the lines are just another money generating idea for the game. You know, I don't think the World Rugby are interested in promoting the game worldwide, or spreading it. You know. When they allow countries to poach players from, say, Samoa and Fiji, you know, when they allow that to carry on, you know.
To be fair, nearly every international team now has got a Samoan in it or a Fijian or
or New Zealand, a Maori, or a Wallaby. But I think it's on.
What is it now? You've played in the UK for 2 years. You can play for one of the international teams.
3 years in Ireland.
3 years, is it?
Yeah, I think it's 3 years. Well, I know they must make a living, but clubs are for that. But I think the national teams should be confined to the indigenous people of the country you're representing. That'd be in rugby.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, let's face it, most of those players are coming from overseas. They're going to be on 5-year contracts, aren't they?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you know. You're talking about long-term development of players and all that. I know you have it in soccer. I think the English soccer team is suffering from that now. You know, the English national team in soccer. I think.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? The amount of foreign players that are in the Premier League. You
have Jack Grealish now. Nobody wants him.
Yeah.
Nobody can afford him. I'm not saying anything personal against him. I'm saying there's 100 million men discarded.
Yep.
And I don't mean that in a cruel way. I'm just saying nobody wants him because nobody can pay him the ridiculous money that Man City are paying him. Man City, was it?
Yeah, but he'll end up going to Saudi or China, won't
he? He either will or maybe a team like Brentford or Bournemouth. He'd be better off going to one of them.
Or they'll come to terms and Man City will pay half his wages if they pay the other half or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
loads of deals like that, isn't there?
There's loads of them around the place, like that. And we're looking forward now to the club championship for the week. I don't know what else. I didn't look up what else. If people are into horse racing, they have the Royal, they call it Royal Ascot, just to make it important, is it?
Yeah, I mean that's a big social event, and then you've got grass tennis, haven't you? Now Queen.
The Queen's Club the tennis tournament just finished. The Queen's Club, they had a women's WTA tournament there for the first time since 1973. Isn't it? 1973.
I didn't know that Queen's used to always be called the London Championships.
Yeah, and the director of the women's tournament this year was Laura Robson, and then and her team. And I think she's a good commentator myself, mind you. I've seen her on the tennis channel. She's a good commentator, but they didn't have a British winner in the women's anyway, But they had a German who was unseeded winning the final against Anasimova, and so. Over in the grass tournament in Germany, you had Taylor Fritz from the United States winning that,
and the men's started at Queen, right?
Yeah, he's a good player. Nottingham is on this week. Nottingham grass tournament is on. Started today, men and women, and it's all in the lead up to
Wimbledon.
To Wimbledon, the grass court. I think it's the one tournament that Djokovic has a real chance of winning on grass. Myself, that's what I think myself. But I think he said farewell to Roland Garros this year. He won me back. I don't think we'll see him playing tennis next year.
No.
I think he's
did look a bit like that, wasn't it?
It did, yeah. And he said he's going to leave it to the dopers to win the. He didn't say that. I'm saying that. Sinner. The doper to win another one or two, and I don't know. That's what I know. You know my opinion about it. I think it's a bad luck for tennis. Bad luck, But I think that
Tour de France, isn't it, next week? Speaking of doping,
I better have my blood transfusion to watch this. I think there was nothing like that. When the story broke about Lance Armstrong in the Sunday Times, David Walsh.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
When the first rumblings came around, the one thing I noticed, all the wagons were circled. Boom. Total silence. And didn't he go on then to do an interview first of all, before he admitted to tell people that I passed all the doping checks on me, I passed all and I was saying to myself, he could cycle faster than a horse running up a hill. I said, I don't care how fit you are, you can't do that. You just can't do that unaided,
Yeah, let's face it. That was amazing, really, when you think about it.
Well, I think that I think the effect of that now is over. I think myself, Darwin, because I've been watching a bit of cycling recently, and I love Pogacar, the Slovenian. He's a absolutely fabulous cyclist, And
I like watching France. I like watching it on TV. I like the actual views as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The aerial shots.
Yeah, they're just amazing.
And they go up around the Alps,
Yeah, and when they start, the helicopter showing a castle or a chateau or whatever.
Yeah.
And they tell you the story of the chateau, and while they're
I missed Eurosport channel. The Eurosport channel, they're gone now.
Yeah, that used to be good, didn't it?
Huh?
That used to be good for cycling.
TNT Sports sometimes can be very, very hit and miss. Very hit and miss in their coverage.
Well, Channel 4, the Tour de France.
Yeah, here in Ireland, TG Carr, Tina G, the Irish channel, the Irish speaking channel, does the Tour de France. Oscailga, if you want to hear Oscailga. But it's very...
Channel 4, if you log into Channel 4, they have it. Then they have like old, like Chris Boardman's on it and stuff like that. And
it'll be good. We have to show this for our golfing. There's our golfing hero there. J.J. Spawn he's of Hawaiian and Filipino extraction. He's American. And an interesting man. He won the US Open. I wonder will he be playing in Portrush?
Yeah, he played Portrush.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this will be good. It'll be good. Something to look forward to. But to check tickets for that though, but just tickets for...
Write the RNA, Pat, for... Write to the RNA for media.
Oh, yeah, you told that. Yeah. There'll be what's in the email to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's in the email. Yes. Well, I did. I got a reply last year from Live Golf for the London one, but I never followed up. I know what happened. I think we were away when it happened. We were away. But I think that I think I'll do that tonight now when this is finished, and we can all be over there. We are wondering who we are. Who are these guys?
No, but they're good like that because you can, like, the story is it's an up and coming channel and all the rest of it's an Irish interest.
Yeah.
Obviously McIlroy, it's in Northern Ireland.
We have the best golfer in the world here in Ireland, and we're the second best and third best. We have a couple of like Lowry and Harrington. There's a very good tradition in Ireland.
I've got the guy's name. I'll email it to you. Rob Price.
What's his name?
Rob Price. I'll email you it tomorrow.
All right. Price?
Yeah, Rob Price.
Okay. I'll do that. That'll be worth doing now. If we got accreditation for the Open,
get 3.
I get 3 or 4. Yeah.
Get 3, and I'll come over.
Yeah. So yeah, it's up in Portrush. I spend a lot of holidays up in Portrush.
Yeah, it's nice, Rush.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Drive up Portrush from here. It's up on the coast, Northampton coast. It's beautiful up around there. Up around the Ards Peninsula. Beautiful, you know.
Giant Causeway and all that.
It's in the occupied part of our country.
Well, to keep you happy, we'll slip over the other side into Donegal for you, all right? So I can be the alien.
Yeah. I don't mind. They speak English up there anyway, so we're fine. And who would be the favourite for the British Open, as we call it, the British Open?
No, it's the Open. I don't know yet. I don't know. I think Hatton's a good bet.
He's a good hacker, yeah, good.
Right.
I'd be still having a punt on DeChambeau. I think he's a fabulous golfer.
McIntyre
will do well there. Will do well.
And I tell you who could really do well around there, because it's his kind of course. His speed.
I wonder will Carlos Ortiz be interested? I suppose he'll interest. You know.
Yeah, he might be exempt.
You send me that sort of one, and I'll send after the email.
Will do.
And hope you enjoyed the show, lads, folks, and all the information is down there on the bottom if you want to email us about anything. And all the programs can be found on our YouTube channel and on SportsView. Took it back to the old ones. I want to thank Mary Honan for all the graphics, all the things that I do here at the press of a button. They're all provided for by the backup service of Mary Honan, and because if you were depending on me, I'm afraid you'd be just looking at my face from one end of the year to the other. But all that work and all the graphics on the show and the design and layout is due to her genius. No, there you are. No,
I'm not going to disagree or agree.
Yeah, that one is neutral in this. And anyway, lads, thanks for watching, and we had a good chat, Darwin, and we'll see you again next Monday night. Lacoon of Day. But for this edition of SportsView, it's goodbye from Darren, goodbye from myself till next week, and take care.
See you, Pat. Take care.
My goodness, there's something I've dropped in there.